So ethnicity is not synonymous with location, not automatically. For some groups of people that have experienced a specific ethnogenesis associated with a specific location, it is. But generally speaking, a location does not automatically give you an ethnicity. So when you say, what the fuck is a so called Palestinian? They say, anyone that's born in Palestine. And it's like, okay, but what is the ethnicity of a so called Palestinian? Then they say, their ethnicity is Palestinian. It's like, okay, but that's not. That's a regionality. It's a civic regionality at best. It's not a nationality or an ethnicity. So if you were to say, well, what's the ethnicity of the so-called Palestinian? Then they would say, their ethnicity is Palestinian. And then you say, okay, well, what defines being a so-called ethnic Palestinian? Then they would say, anyone who's born in Palestine. It's like, okay, but that was your original answer. That's fucking retarded. It's like saying, what is a Bostonian? Anyone born in Boston. True. But is that an ethnic identity? Or is that a municipality? Is that a civic regionality? So what is the ethnicity? What is a Bostonian? Somebody born in Boston. What is the ethnicity of a Bostonian? Well, that's different. Because somebody could be of Sicilian ancestry and born in Boston. Somebody could be of Hispanic ancestry and born in Boston. Somebody could be of white Anglo-Saxon ancestry and be born in Boston. So you say, what is a Bostonian? It's anyone born in Boston, yes. It's a municipality. It's an identity associated with the civic regionality. It's not necessarily an ethnic identity. And so that makes sense to everyone. But then when you say, okay, so what the fucking hell is a so-called Palestinian? Then they say, oh, anyone born in Palestine. It's like, okay, if it's a civic regionality, well, what ethnicity are they then? And they say, well, their ethnicity is Palestinian. It's like, okay, no, it's not. So what is their ethnicity? They say, well, Palestinian. It's like, okay, well then what defines a so-called ethnic Palestinian? And they say, anyone born in Palestine. It's like, no, that's not true. They're Arabs. A location doesn't automatically give you an ethnicity. The same situation can be seen in the British Isles and in Ireland. So you have lowland Scottish people who have a little colony in Ulster, and it's different land, but it's the same ethnic group, same people. And you have the Gaels in the north of Scotland in the Highlands, and then you have the Gaels in the south of Ireland, and those are a very similar ethnicity, almost the same ethnicity. And so again, the ethnicity is not purely defined by location. So a person of lowland Scots ancestry who's born in Ulster is not automatically ethnically Irish just because they're born in that land. They're still Scottish because it's their ethnicity is an Anglo-Saxon ethnicity. They're not automatically ethnic Irish or ethnic Gaelic just by nature of being born in Ireland. So it's the same concept. It would be like saying, say somebody is of white Anglo-Saxon descent, born in Ohio. And someone says, oh, what's your ethnicity? They say, well, I'm Ohioan. Like, okay, but that's not, we didn't ask your civic regionality. We asked what's your ethnicity. And so they say, nope, doesn't matter if I'm English by descent. My ethnicity is Ohioan. No. That's essentially what it looks like to me when someone says that so-called Palestinians are a actual ethnic group. Like, it's a civic regionality at best, because it's actually not a country, and there's not a distinguishable ethnicity as opposed to other types of Arabs. So it all goes back to that same line of questioning. You say, what the hell is a so-called Palestinian? Anyone born in Palestine. Okay, then it's a regionality at best. What is the ethnicity of the so-called Palestinian? Their ethnicity is Palestinian. It's like, no. Okay, so in that case, if that's the claim you're making, that Palestinian is its own ethnicity, then what defines it? How do you define an ethnic Palestinian? Anyone born in Palestine? No, it's not. It's not. That would be a civic regionality. So I rest my case. Location doesn't automatically give you an ethnicity, but in some cases, when a specific ethnic group experienced its ethnogenesis in a specific location, then those things start to overlap. For example, Saint Domingue. The people of Haiti are not French, they're not African. If they took their language and they went to Paris and started speaking normally, the way they always speak, nobody would have a fucking clue what's being said. Same deal if they took their Latin language to West Africa, nobody would understand them because they're neither African nor French. They're Haitian. So they say, well, how come they get to be a location but other people don't? Because there are a specific ethnogenesis associated with that location. Palestinians are just so-called, are just Arab. There's no distinguishing ethnic factors between them and any other Arabs. Whereas Haitians and people in Europe have complete opposite languages. And the same is true of Haitians and people in Africa. So they're their own ethnicity associated with a specific place. But that's not true for everyone. Least of all, Arabs, who are mostly all the same people.